Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Cloy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to CloysSouthernEats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.
And everybody, welcome to the Sunday edition, Sunday, September 24th of the Razorback Diamond Report with Dudley Dawson. I am your host, Jason Pattyson. Got Dudley here, and we have a very, very, very special guest with us. Got Coach Courtney Deifel of Arkansas Razorback Softball. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. And thanks for the 3 varies. That was very generous.
No, it very well deserved too. So we're just going to jump right into this too.
All right.
So you've got some transfers that have came in, and last year you had a lineup 1 through 5, 1 through 6 that you knew you could really count on, that you guys got into a little bit of a rough patch. You knew that you could count on them to kind of get you through that. This year, you have really more of a 1 through 10, maybe a 1 through 11, that it's almost an embarrassment of riches, really.
I don't know about that, but it's definitely, I'm glad. I was wondering what number you were going to land on. And most days it's 1 through 12 or 13. So, we have really great options. We have some really, really great talent. We have some players that can flat hit. We have a lot of tools. So it is going to be, I don't know if it's embarrassment of riches, but it is definitely going to be fun to make a lineup. That's for sure.
Talk to us a little bit about what you look for in the the top of that lineup. Obviously, you have a bunch of choices that you could put up there, but obviously you've got a speedster leading off who's probably pretty settled there. But talk about following her and how you want to have them being able to protect each other as well.
Yeah, well, more than anything, we just want the table setters. We want the players that are going to get on a lot to set the table for that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that we have going on. And so, when you have Reagan Johnson up there, she's just been such a spark. And I think you had the chance to see us even, last weekend, she's settled in even more of just like really knowing her tools, knowing her tempo, knowing how to use all those. And then you have Nia Carter in the mix, our transfer from Iowa, who hit 500 last year. So she's also going to be on base quite a bit. And you have Reagan Kramer, Jimmy, who's had a really productive year last year. And she's continued right where she left off last year. So really great options. And then we have a really great meat of the order. And so it's just finding that right combination that's going to produce the most amount of runs.
Talk about what you were looking for in the transfer portal. Obviously, you were very successful there, but what were you looking to bring in, to give the team even more strength?
Well, I mean, you can see in who we brought in, we wanted to bring in some depth in the circle and a different look in the circle. I think that's the big thing. When you lose Shanice did a really good job of just splitting the zone vertically. And then we had a lot of drop, we had some up. So anytime we can round out our profile as a pitching staff, it's going to add depth and make everyone better. So we definitely did that in adding Reese and Morgan. We added Morgan, who's a grad transfer. She's had a lot of innings. Has a lot of experience. She's been a workhorse for Southern Miss. So just coming in and seeing her create outs here at this level. And then Reese is the one that has the stuff that most mirrors Shanice. She's not quite there consistency wise, but she can split the zone vertically and has a few more elements too. So we got to work on her velo and work on her consistency. But we really do feel like those two rounded out our pitching staff really well and gave us some really, really good depth. And then when you look at adding Bree, obviously you're adding a huge bat. At the time, we thought we were replacing Rylan. And then when we get Rylan back, you get to add them both to the lineup. And then you add Kylie Halverson in that conversation and Hannah Gamble in that conversation. And we have some really big hitters that we can string together. And as I talked about before, we added Nia, who's just a ton of experience, and year after year, she's shown that she can just get on base. She can hit it. You can come watch her, and she just peppers the field. It's like she calls her shot and can just place the ball where she wants to place it. She's a really tough out. So we've added a lot of tools, some really great pieces, and still trying to figure out how those pieces all come together. But it's a really great problem to have right now.
So going back to pitching for just a second, you've got Nikki coming back, Robin coming back, Haw coming back. What are you wanting to see from that core staff transferring from last year to this year, and what type of improvements are you wanting to see?
Well, and we have Callie Turner coming back too. So, those 4 returners, it's just coming in and having a different role, knowing that we're going to pair a lot, and then how are we going to elevate their game? So not only, once you have a year under her belt, Callie's a senior, so she has a few years under her belt. So just kind of continuing to make her more comfortable. And it's kind of helpful with some of the pitching rule changes. We've been battling. She just doesn't have a lot of ankle mobility. So she ends up having to pitch in a way that's not necessarily natural to our body. And so it's kind of alleviating some of those things that we had to work through in the past. And so just kind of letting her naturally go now is really nice. And then you just try to see what's going to elevate Hannah's game, what's going to elevate Nikki's game and Robin's game. And so just trying to figure out what's going to take them to that next level with a year of information under their belt and opposing teams' belts. So just continuing to see, what we need to do with them individually to make them better and make our staff better. But I really like what we look like so far. I think they complement each other really well, and they're competing really well. So we'll see tonight tonight when we start our Razorbacks Unlimited. I know this will air on Sunday, but
Shanice obviously was a workhorse and somebody you could turn to all the time. Do you see more of, I know you're going to use all the pitchers, but do you see them more of spread out a little bit this year?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think that's the thing that's a little different with this staff is in the last 5-6 years, we've had that returning ace number one we can count on. And I guess that kind of came out. And I know we can count on came out wrong, but I know we can count on the ones we have, but we've had that number one, solidified number one. And that's up for grabs this year. And so it's really it'll be really interesting to see who emerges as that ace. But I do know more than ever that we have all the pieces and a varied profile that's going to allow us to make those pairings a little stronger against opponents.
When we saw the first lineup against McLennan, you had a shortstop there that maybe surprised some. Talk about her adapting to that position. It's obviously one she played in high school as well, and what you're expecting out of her.
Well, I think she adapted more to catcher than anything. That's putting her back in her comfort zone. And because she's just an incredible middle infielder. As you can watch, she has one of the best gloves that we have. She has great footwork. She just has really great instincts. We saw that transition to catcher last year, and that's where she adapted, is just kind of filling that spot that we really needed her to fill. And you could see her glove work and how she caught. That that position's getting, just, I guess, changing, and you just really need great glove work in the dirt. And so you could see her get back in her comfort zone at short. And so we'll see. She looks really great there. She looks really great at second. We have 2 really solid, strong freshman catchers. So I don't know that we'll need Lo to fill that spot again. So we're going to see her out in the infield, and man, she can sure pick it out there. She's really smooth.
Speaking of the infield third baseman, it was great to see her at her first at bat this year against McLennan, just line one off the wall. Let's talk about her year coming up. I had a chance to talk to her. It seems like she's in a really good mental state and ready to go and have a big season.
Yeah, she is in a really great mental space. She had a really great summer. She got to compete for a Triple Crown, which is kind of like a college all-star team that Dave King runs out of Colorado, and they compete in the Canada Cup. And she had a tremendous tournament out there. I think she hit 500 and just kind of looked kind of like old Hannah Gamble, just really comfortable, having fun, swinging freely. I think you'll see that when Hannah's at her best, she's swinging freely and just she could hit any pitch. And so when she starts to get too picky, that's not really when she's at her best. And then we got to see her compete for the USA, which has always been a dream for her. And so I think this was a huge summer for her mentally, and just kind of taking a breath and really appreciating the sport and the doors that it's opened for her. And she's come in with just this lightness about her. I think she's in a really great spot mentally. I think she's in a really great spot physically, just with who she is as a hitter and how she's training and how she's feeling physically. And I expect this to be a big year for her. I think she wants it too. I think she's at the point where she's like, I can't believe I'm in my last year. And we think the same thing. I can't believe this is our last year with Hannah Gamble. But I think we're all just really excited about who she is, what she's done for our program, and making sure she goes out the right way.
Obviously got some returning starters in the outfield, but talk about all the different options that you have out there that you're kind of working through, I guess, in practice and through these scrimmages.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of great options. I think there's no way we're not going to see Reagan Johnson out there unless there's an injury. Just the way she holds down center field, the ground she covers, she's a difference maker out there. We have Jimmy or Reagan Kramer working in left. We have her taking some at second base. So there's some pieces that are still moving. We have Nia out in right and left. We have Rylan taking some in right. Hannah Kamendsen's looking really great, swinging it and playing outfield. So there is a list, and it's just going to be, how we put the pieces together the best way. But we're just kind of looking at everything right now. And I'm really glad that we have some time to figure it out this fall.
So I wanted to ask you, what was the first thing that went through your mind when you got the call from Rylan Hedgecock telling you, I'm coming back, coach?
You can see the smile. It was just really, really excited. And, it was interesting. She was playing in that team with Hannah Gamble in Canada, in the Canada Cup. And she was rooming with Han, and Hannah would FaceTime me every day. We just kind of FaceTime, and we'd check in on how I was watching, but just kind of checking in on how they were doing and just kind of checking in general. And Rylan was there, which kind of surprised me that she went. And it kind of, to me, made it feel like she hadn't really closed the door on softball together. And that was the thing, is kind of going through that week. And just for Rylan, I think it just felt a little unfinished. I think she felt like, man, I really enjoy this. I love the sport. I don't know that I want to walk away from my last year and leave it on the table. And so Hannah had kind of alluded like, hey, you might want to talk to Rylan. And I had joked with her a little bit talking to Hannah. I was like, well, when you come home, why don't you just bring Rue with you? Just bring her on home. And the way she kind of received that joke, I was like, okay, we'll revisit this. And she's like, okay, let me see how this week goes. But I think I might regret it if I don't play. And when it comes down to it, there's more regret to have not doing it than in doing it and playing that year. And so as she went through that week, I think for her, she's such a family person. And so she didn't want to make that decision fully without being around her family and making that together. And so I'm pretty sure it was the day she got back. She called and she's like, all right, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. And I'm surprised you guys didn't hear the screams from the staff of just being so excited that she decided to come back and use her last year. I just can't speak enough about who Rylan is and what she's meant to our program. And so getting to get another year with her, I just think we're all like elated over it. And just for her to kind of set the example to our young ones, not only performing at a high level, but training at a high level and bringing it every day and being so level. And she just has so much experience to share with those young ones. And so I'm just really excited for everybody in the program to get to spend another year with her.
You used the word unfinished business when talking about Hannah. Do you kind of feel like the team, it had such a great year last year, it ended so quickly in a way I don't think anybody thought it would? Did the team's mentality, is there kind of, we have some unfinished business from last year, has that pushed them over the off season?
Yeah. I mean, our biggest growth has come from those experiences of them just looking and for lack of a better word, just being pissed. That's how it ended. I know I was too. And it's a crazy sport to where you can get wrapped up in a weekend and lose sight of all the great things you did over the course of a season. So the things that that team last year did was tremendous with just the youth that we had and the schedule that we had. It's our toughest of our 3-year cycle in the conference. But you lose sight of that when you have a couple bad days and you just kind of get exposed and it's lit a fire. Lit a fire with this team. I think they kind of want to change some things. I think they've been working their tails off. And I think we're all really laser focused on making sure that we don't have that ending again. But our biggest growth has come from those, endings or those kind of experiences. And so I would expect the same moving forward with this team this season.
That being said, tremendous support that weekend. It's been tremendous support all around, and it was happening even before y'all really got to the elite status. But talk about that support, and also you released your 2024 conference schedule this week. Looks very entertaining. Talk about that a little bit.
Our fan base is the best in the country, and we knew. 9 years ago when I got here, we knew that they were here if we could win them over, and they have continued to show up for us every year and continue with that growth and that support. And it's a loyal fan base. It's a fan base that is great for college softball, not just the Razorbacks, but great for college softball. And because that's where our sport is, and to see our fans continue to show up for this team and be so invested in who they are as people and athletes. It's not just a win or loss to our fans. We win a lot. Don't get me wrong. We win a good amount of games, but they support our team as people. And we are just so incredibly lucky. We have the best fan base in the country. And to look back at the SEC tournament and hosting it and it being the highest attended SEC tournament in the history of the tournament, that's incredible. It's incredible because we played one game. We played one very late, very, extra inning, heartbreaking game, and they continued to show up and support the sport and us for putting it on. And I think that speaks volumes. We're selling out of our postseason. We're selling out of our season tickets. We're charging for season tickets. There's been so many things that just continue to amaze me with this fan base. And I won't take it for granted one day. We knew that they were there. They've showed up for us, and we're incredibly lucky.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about two pretty good programs coming in the following year. Just talk about the excitement that those two teams will bring into a league that's already probably the best in the country.
Yeah, it's a league that's probably, arguably, but strongest top to bottom. And then you add Oklahoma and Texas that have they're so strong. They have so much tradition coming in. And so you add another two where our entire league is going to be in that top 30 RPI. It's crazy. I don't think there's anything like it in college athletics. I think some say it's like SEC football, but I'm pretty sure we take the cake in the softball world. I think Hunter's even said that, but that's what you do it for. And that's, you want to play the best, and it's going to be really, really exciting. I think we have OU in our first year. I think we have Texas in our second year of them being in the league. And so, I think we're all really excited to add them. I think we're excited for the direction of the SEC. I think we're excited about the stability of the SEC in this time of uncertainty. And anytime we get the chance to listen to Commissioner Sankey, we're just really excited that he's our leader. And so I'm excited about the SEC. I'm excited about our growth, and I'm excited about our future.
So speaking about growth and additions, you've got DJ Gasso that you've added onto the staff. Talk a little bit about the process on how that kind of came about.
Well, I've fortunately known DJ since I was a GA at Oklahoma. He said the age the other day of how old he was when I was there. I thought that was really rude. I don't think that was necessary. No, but I've seen him. I know that family really, really well. Having been a part of, Patty's coaching tree myself, but I've watched his career and I know who he is as a person. And so I know his ability to connect. I've seen what he's been able to do in a short amount of time to make a name for himself, not just be Patty's son or JT's brother. He's made a name for himself. He's very different than them. Also, he's made a name for himself. And so just watching what he did with Utah and seeing what he's done in a short time here, I'm just really thrilled for him to be on staff. He has a ton of energy. He's very charismatic. He makes you feel like he knows no stranger. He doesn't know a stranger. You're going to meet him for the first time and you're going to feel like you've known him forever. But he has just a really great way of connecting with our athletes and bringing a new energy, a new perspective. And I'm just really excited to have him on board, and his wife Grace and his son Parker. We have another little Bogle boy running around. He just started walking. So we're just really excited to bring that family in, and they've already added so much, and just really excited about our future with them too.
Speaking of family, you added a family member basically to the coaching staff as well, and Danielle.
Yeah, we got to bring Gibby home, which was a really, really exciting call and an exciting time, and kind of getting to recruit her to come back and be a part of our staff. And it just feels right, when you get to bring someone of Gibby's caliber as a person and an athlete, one of our most decorated that we've ever had, and always knew her mind for the game, see it blossom as she's gotten into the coaching ranks. But it just feels right to have her home. She and Mally are just like such a big part of our build here, of our growth here, and to have her come in and our athletes look to her and know that, one, she's been there and done that, but she still continues to do it at a high level, with her finishing third in the AU. She just brings so much, and it's a staff that you look at and it's very different, personality wise. We all bring something very different to the table, but it's been really exciting in a short amount of time of how it's all coming together, and how our athletes have responded to these changes, and just welcomed them with open arms, and they've just been absolute sponges. And so it's been great, and I'm really excited.
We've talked about the
smile and hear it in my voice.
We talked about the returnees. We've talked about the portal additions. You also added a great class of freshmen. Talk about what kind of players they are that the fans are going to get to show up and see this season.
Well, they're tremendous athletes, first and foremost. I mean, they're great athletes, really versatile. We got to keep two our Kansans home, in Jaden Wells and Casey Wood. Jaden's from Paris. Casey's from the Bentonville High School, Bentonville Rogers area. So anytime we get to keep our Arkansas girls home, we love to do that. And then we add Kennedy Miller and Kylie Brockman, who are from Texas and Kansas. And they are great catchers. So I know that watching us last year, we were shorthanded there. We had Lowe go back there, but just in a short amount of time, I think we've seen that Kylie and Kennedy are going to hold it down back there. They've done a really great job of just diving in. This freshman class, more than any in recent past, has just absolutely dove in, and they've just done a really great job of answering anything that we ask of them, and their returners are asking of them, and just fully embracing everything. So we have a very versatile, very athletic, tremendous humans in the four that we've added in our freshman class.
How important do you feel it's that your student athletes are multi-sport athletes? You mentioned Brockman for just a second. She's a two-time power lift champion out of Kansas, also was state runner-up in the javelin as well. How important is it for those student athletes to be multi-sport athletes?
Well, I love it. You're going to hear quite a debate on that topic. And I love it. I mean, Kylie, if you watch Kylie, I don't know there's anyone fitter. She's just like a walking muscle, and she just loves to compete. And so when you have her in these powerlifting and the javelin, you're just training different muscles. You're, giving your mind a mental break from softball. You're just training a different mentality. And so I think that there's so much benefit to it. Now there's some that are adamantly against it. They can have their own, platform for that. But I love when they play more sports. I love all of the benefits that you get it physically and mentally. So I'm a big advocate for it.
And so last question I have for you is, with last year during the SEC tournament, and you've got Alabama up against the ropes there, you've got a young core. How important was it for them to experience the electricity that was in the crowd? You could feel it on the field as well, to be able to just put that in their back pocket and carry that to this coming 24 season?
Well, I think all of our experiences have been and will be really beneficial. I really loved how we competed in our conference schedule with, starting, I think we started 6 underclassmen, and it's our toughest of our 3-year cycle. For them to put together the conference season that they did, I was just really proud of them. I thought that they competed beyond their years. And then you look at, playing in front of our crowd, it's electric. They're supporting our team, but there's still an amount of pressure that can be added when you're playing in front of 3,000 plus. In that setting at the SEC tournament, it was just absolutely electric. And I think that they feel the disappointment of not pulling it out more than they do the excitement. I think that they want to pull it out for them. I think they want to pull it out for our crowd. And so I think that you just gain so much by every experience you go through. So just playing in front of that crowd, it gets them more comfortable for our home schedule this year. It gets us more comfortable for playing in Oklahoma City when we get there, and we will get there. So it's just all of those things that continue to add tools to their tool belt, and as well as the big losses, as well as, not pulling out regionals. Those are all things that they can pull from and be better for moving forward.
You just told us where you're going to finish the season. Obviously, the season will start.
That was a very comfortable answer.
That is our future. We have the team for it, but it's hard to get there. It's hard. Yeah. You need to be playing your best. You need to have a little bit of luck. You need to have a favorable match. You need to have all those things. And so I think sometimes we take for granted how hard it is to get there. I think that we, even though you have a great team, you still have to be playing your best softball and still have a little bit of luck with it. So we have the team for it. I'm not making a prediction that we'll get there this year, although I believe that we can. It is definitely in our future. Absolutely.
Let me rephrase my question, and it'll be my last one too. We certainly appreciate you taking time to do this.
Very much so.
Obviously, you've started the previous seasons and tournaments and stuff like that, and I know y'all haven't released the full schedule yet. But when does the season start, and kind of what are some of the highlights going to be?
Shoot, we have a really great schedule. We should release it. We should be releasing it pretty soon. We just had to kind of pivot a little bit and adjust in our opening weekend. We're going to open up at Florida Atlantic in Florida. We're going to go second weekend to the University of Arizona. So that should be a great trip. And then we'll be hosting 3 straight weekends of tournaments. So it's always nice with our weather, with our stadium, to be able to play at home as early and as often as we can. So we're going to have over 30 home games, and we're excited for that. We're excited to play in Bogle, and we're excited to play in front of our fans. So week 3, everybody, we will be home and we'll be ready for you.
Well, Coach, again, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and we're looking forward to this coming season. You got also, you do have a couple more preseason exhibitions coming up. Is that correct?
We do. We're going to play in Kansas City at the start of October, but we also have 4 Razorbacks Unlimited doubleheaders, which are really exciting to see our athletes compete against each other. And I'll be in the stands too. It's we just are fans for the night too. So we're excited to see them compete and just continue to see this group grow together. So it'll be fun.
Thanks,
Coach.
Coach.
Again, thank you so much for jumping on with us, Dudley. Thank you so much as well. And everybody, go out, check out these incredible athletes over at Bogle, and I promise you they will not disappoint. I've covered these ladies for the last 2 seasons, and from start to finish, it is an incredible experience, and y'all go check them out. And for Dudley Dawson, I'm your host, Jason Pattyson, and thank you for jumping on the Razorback Diamond Report with Dudley Dawson. Thank you all.